detectives head to the home of Ariana Sims. Ariana is shocked to find detectives at her doorstep.
She says that she was alive the last time I saw her.
Ariana tells detectives the night was just an ordinary night, but Delisha did have some other friends show up later in the evening.
They were watching TV, just having a normal night in. And then 3 people came over to the house.
There were 2 males and a female. The only thing odd is that they were in a U-Haul truck.
Ariana says the U-Haul truck initially seemed a bit strange, but she overheard the trio say they had been moving all day, and she had no reason to doubt their story.
Delisha seemed to be friendly with these people, so it wasn't anything that made her concerned.
She tells detectives the 3 came in and introduced themselves. Unfortunately, Ariana could only remember the female's name.
She remembered that the woman's name was Shakora.
Ariana says it was getting late and she had to work the next morning, so she left soon after they arrived.
You can imagine that she's upset, she feels guilty, she just hopes that Delisha is okay.
Without a last name for Shakora, detectives head back to the station, hoping the U-Haul lead will generate some answers. It doesn't take long before they get a hit.
So just hours before the 3 people of interest showed up at Delisha's godmother's house, they discovered that a U-Haul had been rented by a Shakora Clanton.
The truck haven't been returned yet.
Detectives head to the address associated with the reservation. Bovey tells detectives on the night of July 3rd, the couple, along with their friend, 42-year-old Andrew Jackson, went over to Delisha's house. Delisha's friend Ariana left soon after their arrival, and the 4 started hanging out.
They were drinking, they were having fun. Delisha had no idea what was about to happen.
Bovey says after hours of partying, Delisha got tired and went to bed. She offered for the trio to crash for the night.
And then when Delisha went to bed, that's when everything changed.
Bovey claims they went into Delisha's bedroom and Andrew tried to subdue her with a syringe to knock her unconscious. But the commotion ended up jolting Delisha awake.
Bovey said they couldn't get a clear spot for the syringe, so Andrew hit Delisha in the head.
He said Andrew beat her, he strangled her, he stabbed her, and all the while Shakora was the one handing him the weapons.
Bovey says after the struggle, the 3 stole the items and Delisha's body was loaded into the U-Haul.
But he says he and Andrew loaded the body in the truck, and that's how he got Delisha's blood all over him.
According to Bovey, Shakora drove the 3 of them to Andrew's house to drop him off. Then, Shakora and Bovey drove across state lines to dispose of the body.
He says they drove to Kansas to dump the body at a location that Shakora knew about.
It's quite a story. One that puts a convenient amount of blame on his friend and girlfriend.
So at this point, they're not sure what parts of his story they can believe.
After concluding their interview with Bovey, detectives put out an APB for Andrew Jackson. They also reach out to their counterparts in Kansas.
We notified the Kansas Police Department that, hey, there could be a dead body in this area.
As Kansas police search for Delisha's body, Missouri detectives approach Shakora a second time.
The first time she denied having any knowledge of the incident and said that her and her boyfriend were completely innocent.
Detectives confront Shakora with the charges Bovey alleges against her.
They tell her Bovey said it was all her idea to up the scale of the robbery, rent the U-Haul, and that she gave Andrew all the weapons.
Shakora's demeanor completely changes.
It's clear Shakora is shocked by what she's hearing. She just can't believe that Bovey would actually do this to her.
He didn't take responsibility. He told the police that it was me and Andrew's idea, none of his ideas. So that's when I chose not to protect him anymore.
Shakora says detectives have it all wrong. With a heavy heart, she begins to tell an unsettling story that centers around a ruthless plot for vengeance.
Bovie utilized both of them in this masterful plan to seek revenge.
This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Bovie wanted Delisha dead.
Missouri police have 2 suspects in custody for the home robbery and suspected murder of 29-year-old Delisha Williams, Bovie Combs and Shakora Clanton. They are still on the hunt for a 3rd suspect, Andrew Jackson.
Bovie gives really little details about his responsibility in this situation. He really puts a blame on Andrew and Shakora.
Feeling betrayed, Shakora is now giving detectives her account. She confirms it was Bovie's idea for the robbery, but it was never meant to be just a robbery. It was meant to be murder.
Even though it wasn't right, I felt like robbery is better than murder.
Shakora says she did as instructed. She rented the U-Haul, and on the night of June 3rd, she drove Bovie and their friend Andrew over to Delisha's home. She tells detectives Bovie was feigning interest in Delisha to get them in the door.
He is to pretend that he is romantically interested in Delisha to set the stage. Shakora is supposed to come with him and pretend that she is his sister and drive this U-Haul.
Introducing me to her as like his sister.
Bovie is emotionally manipulative enough to have a sense of control and can predict both women's behavior.
Shakora may not be comfortable, but what is she gonna say? Maybe this is too far, but I love him. And so she's kind of divided.
Shakora confirms Bovie's account that after the group hung out for a few hours and Delisha went to bed, Andrew tried to subdue her with the syringe. But Shakora says once Delisha started trying to fight back, Bovie jumped in to help.
It was very terrifying, especially the things that they were doing to her. And I just feel that I could have been the one to save her, and I didn't.
Shakora tells detectives at that point, she felt there was no stopping Bovie. He was determined to kill Delisha.
As Bovie sees that Delisha is not going down, he grabs a knife and he starts to stab her.
Shakora says she was frozen watching the horrific scene.
I was feeling like I was in something that I couldn't get myself out of. I was hoping she was still alive after all the things that she was enduring, because she showed so much strength and she fought so hard for her life.
Shakora claims Bovie instructed her to head back to the truck.
After they thought that they had killed her,